Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Obey, and thank you for, once again, if you're watching, for joining me here in the toy room to look at some comics. Now, a while back, I'd gone through, I can't even remember what title it was. It was an Eclipse book, but I'd come across an ad for Lost Planet, and it just really looked interesting to me. It looked like something I would want to read. And so I was like, well, I'll keep an eye out. And boom, sure enough, I saw a set on eBay going real cheap. And I was like, you know what? I better just snag that. It really does look interesting to me. Got the whole series. So here I got 1 through 6. We're going to take a look at them. Just got them out of the packaging. I opened up the plastic bags. That is it. I have not cracked the issues open yet. So we're going to just see what they look like in here. And we're going to take a look at the year. This is May 1st. Well, actually, it's just number 1, May 1987, published by Eclipse. There's a bunch of, sometimes I wish I had the time to read like these whole intro things because they really give a lot of context sometimes to what the company is doing. Forgive me for that mishandling of the book. But yeah, sometimes those things at the beginning of the comics really give you a context that maybe you don't always get. I know back when I was reading a lot of comics all the time, I never read any of the bullpens. I never read any of that stuff. And, maybe I should have because it's a lot more interesting sometimes than I always gave it credit for. But as far as context of this story, sometimes those really give you a great context in a lot of that. So what I'm seeing some sort of gun, possibly a laser. I'm seeing dinosaurs with saddles. Those are always things that I enjoy. A gun. He has a gun. So, I mean, you're getting a combination of, and this guy's clearly a wizard. So you're getting wizards. You're getting some sort of marshals, air marshals it looks like. You got firearms, you got dinosaurs. Magic. That's pretty cool. Top of the news. Eclipse reaches 400th publication. Crossfire 19. 9 bonus pinups on Valkyrie. Truman Snyder on the prowl. Farland creator recalls breaking into comics. This is some interesting stuff. I bet you each one of these would be probably pretty interesting pieces of Eclipse. There's the heap. I love the heap. Planetary profiles. Looks like we have an ad for ESPers in the back, or espers. I'm not sure exactly how that was intended to be pronounced. I've always called it ESPers, but I've heard some people call it espers. I suppose if I read the books, I would know. I have a few issues, but I have not read them. I'm seeing a Michael Jackson comic from Eclipse. That is weird. Paper dolls from the comics. Enchanter, 3D, Lars of Mars. Interesting. Those are the kind of books that looked interesting to me. So that's a pretty good look for the first issue there. I think this is the cover I saw in the ad that really made me go, ooh, that's a thing that Anton would like to read. So this is Lost Planet 2 of 6. There is only 6 issues. The penumbra. I don't know, this looks pretty vibrant. This already, for some reason, this one looks more interesting already than the first one. I'm seeing locust people, mantis people. Love stuff like that. A monkey with a sword on his back. That's horrifying. Castles, riding dinosaurs. So what I'm getting the impression of is I kind of thought, Lost Planet, maybe they were struck on a planet. This looks a lot more like this is just how this planet is and they're just on this lost planet as opposed to being maybe stranded on it. But that's kind of hard to tell just by reading or just by flipping through and not reading. We have the right to disagree, Airboy. That's weird. Some sort of PSA, probably about protesting of some kind. Devil's Eye. More news. Scout Flexidisc earns outside media attention. Paper Dolls from the comics is released. I like the way they do that. It makes it captivating. So it's a good way to do a bullpen. It's a good way to do a news story. I don't know how I feel about this watercolor art. It's a little bit on the strange side. I'm not necessarily mad at it, just don't know how I feel about it. And back issues that you could order from your own company. Looks like Valkyrie on the back of this. Lost Planet 3 of 6. So like I said, I didn't even know this comic existed. Never heard of it till I saw the ad for it. And the ad alone just looked like something I'd want. Now, I don't know. It's a little more sword and sorcery than I thought it would be. And a little bit less sci-fi, which I was kind of hoping it would be. I do tend to enjoy sci-fi stories more than I tend to enjoy sword and sorcery stuff. So that is a little bit of a letdown. I'm not like a wild sword and sorcery guy by any means. The sellout summer continues. Was 87 a really good year for Eclipse? Maybe it was. The Liberty Project. Liberty Project is a book that's on my short list to acquire, and so is New Wave. These are books that I've been recommended and have seen and been wanting to get into and just haven't got it done. This guy looks like an Avatar character. Only pink. Yeah, I mean, not that I can really judge it because I haven't read it yet, but I am a little disappointed at the amount of wizardry looking stuff here when I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of a sci-fi edge. More tech, more things like that, or at least more dinosaurs, more giant insects. Well, sometimes I'm just hard to please, I guess. I notice all of these are coming with stories in the back, which is nice. The Prowler. So they're a good thick book. As sometimes I've pointed out with Eclipse stuff, especially the earlier Airboy stuff, they are very thin issues. These are very thick. A lot of story in here, a lot of content. And for, well, it ought to be. It really should, because for what did I say? This is 88 by now. For 88, to cost $2 an issue, that is a lot. That is a very expensive comic in 88. And you know, it always kind of freaks me out because I'm like, man, comics were $1 in 88. A lot of them were less. A lot of them were like 60 cents, 75 cents. Look through your collection and look at some of the comics prices and look at some of the dates. $2 is a lot in 88. This is an expensive book, considering if you go clear up to, let's see, I think it was 95 or 96. The first issue of Uncanny X-Men I ever bought was $1.95, something like that. And yeah, that's almost 10 years after this, and this was $2 clear back then. That is an expensive comic. Ew. Oh, that's not good. That's horrible. They killed it like that. Anyway, that's super disturbing. So I'll give it a D for disturbing images. was pretty disturbing. Yeah, that was gross. See, now you're getting like stuff like this. You got some sci-fi blasters, some sort of space slider. That's kind of what I thought would be a lot more in this series than it is. Instead of medieval torture dungeons and stuff. This is very cool, though, this part in the back here. Pretty interested in that. Now let's see kind of what that is, to see if that's something I can, if they made more of that. So anyway, there is Lost Planet 1 through 6, and 1 through 6 is all they made that I know of. Of course, I just found out about these, so you know what we're talking about. I like the covers. I'll have to give it a read, to give it a chance. It's not something I can immediately just fall in love with, because the art and everything is, it's like I said, it's just not as sci-fi as I was hoping. But I got it. It was very inexpensive. So if this was a series you were looking for, you like what you see here, probably pretty easy to find. Oh no, Elvira fell over. Oof. Didn't want her to take a tumble. Anyway, I'm going to call it good. Those are the comics. They're cheap if you want them. And otherwise, thank you. Thank you for spending some time with me here, looking through some comics that I certainly have never known existed. So, thank you.